Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel, John Barker Fitness, or JBarkFit. I've been feeling like I've been in sort of a rut with my own personal fitness, and in terms of business, I feel like I've been changing things in order to try to find what I enjoy most. So this video is really going to attempt to kind of restart my own thinking and bring a new perspective to the community when it comes to their own health and fitness. Now, I haven't usually been one to do CrossFit workouts. I've experienced a few with a friend of mine at the gym, but it's not particularly something that I have gotten into. However, one thing that I do definitely like about the CrossFit philosophy is that they define health and fitness in a very clear way that is easy for me to understand. Fitness can be defined as an increased work capacity across broad time and modal domains. In other words, as we choose to participate in activities that are going to increase our performance, our speed, our ability to do certain things, then our fitness level is increasing and our health is judged by the amount that we do over time of increasing our fitness level. When thinking about the so-called buzzword of health and fitness, if we break it down into smaller pieces, it starts to make a lot more sense rather than this stereotypical concept that people try to sell through programs, platforms, different things that become more of a capitalist industry rather than a community. My goal is to try to convert fitness back into the community that it should be and focus less on the income-based activities, regardless of age, gender, weight, or any other circumstance or aspect of someone's life. If we think about fitness as the ability to increase our capacity to do something, then health would focus our goal on trying to accomplish that over time. This, of course, is relative to each individual. Many people are in different stages of their life. One person might be trying to compete on an Olympic level or a professional level, whether that's through Olympic weight lifts or sport events in swimming, volleyball, baseball, football. There could be activities such as gymnastics, where people are trying to compete. Those higher levels for those individuals might not be the same. However, the concept is when you talk about someone who may be recovering from a physical impairment or maybe even a mental aspect of their life, that they're trying to improve something about themselves. In order to accomplish any goal, I believe that there are three pillars of success. Three things that are vital to being able to accomplish any goal, whether it is in fitness or life in general. In a recent podcast, I had a guest on the show who quoted something from Earl Nightingale. Success is really nothing more than the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. This means that any person who knows what they are doing and where they are going is a success. Any person with a goal towards which they are working is a successful person. So in short, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So anything that you desire to put your mind to, as long as you are working towards that goal, that is considered success. Not a destination, but a journey. To this end, I wish to outline the three pillars which I believe truly help us progress towards that worthy ideal, whether it's improving our health and fitness, bettering ourselves as individuals, or whatever that worthy ideal may be. Now, jumping into these three pillars, the first one is knowledge. Everything that we do should be based off of sound principles that we learn, whether that's through experience or through study or from someone else, such as a mentor, maybe YouTube videos, or even this podcast video, wherever you are listening or watching. That is a way that you can earn more knowledge. Specifically related to health and fitness, some of the things that we need to learn before we can begin doing anything else is where we want to go or who we want to become. I am currently in a state of around 250 pounds, and if I realize that I want to gain 15 pounds or maybe I want to lose 20 pounds, that goal is where I need to learn first. What should I expect to look like? These goals could include things such as physical appearance, body composition, performance such as strength or speed, well-being, overall feelings of self-worth, or how we want to feel when we wake up in the morning. If we like how we feel, not simply how we look. It doesn't all have to be about our weight or the body fat or strength or speed. It can be simply we want to feel better as an individual. Other things to consider when trying to increase our knowledge would be nutrition, exercise, activities, different diet strategies that we may want to try and see if that works for us, whether that's keto, paleo, Whole30, macro counting, or just simply intuitive eating. There are many things that we can use to implement that will then be able to help us achieve our goals. Now, there is no one size fits all, and this may be something that I repeat over and over again, but as individuals, there are basic principles that apply in general. However, when you type your numbers into a calculator to figure out how many calories you have to eat, that number is just a baseline. Everyone reacts differently to different things in different levels. The concepts are similar, but in practice, that's where we need to figure out what works best for us. Now, there are different levels of knowledge that I can get into. And if you look up a picture of an iceberg, you'll often see that there's 10% of the iceberg above the water and 90% below. So when you just see the top, there's much more that you can go into and much more that you can see. With knowledge, that same principle applies. If all you want to know is the types of food that you should be eating to feel healthier, great. You don't have to dig in and learn about the micronutrients and macronutrients and the body's physiological response to consuming those foods or supplements at different times and everything else. You don't have to go into that depth. If you choose to, then you can. So what I can recommend is that you start with simple foundations. I, for one, am basically thinking that everything that I've learned in the past, I'm going to start with a clean slate and start researching and start studying and start implementing things in my own fitness as if I did not know anything. So I'm starting from scratch and then going from the very surface and then digging deeper. As I start to go through that and redevelop the things that I know, I will be able to implement certain things that I may not have seen before. There's a quote that I found by Daniel J. Boorstin that I really want to share because I feel like this is significant with respects to this topic of knowledge. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, it is the illusion of knowledge. So sometimes I personally get so wrapped up in things that I think I know that I might not actually know the basic principles and be able to apply them accurately in my own life. Focus first on learning directly what applies to you, then increase in depth for each topic. For example, eating or exercising. Start at the surface level and then go deeper as you need to. Determine what goal you want to work towards, whether that's weight loss, weight gain, muscle building, if you want to be faster at swimming, or if you want to be stronger in a certain sport or activity, if you want to feel healthier as a person. Find out what that goal is and write it down. Learn those principles and then decide how you can personally apply them in your life. This would then lead us to the second pillar of success, specifically related to health and fitness, which is planning. Planning is the process of thinking about the activities required to obtain a specific goal, which involves creation, maintenance, and review of that plan. Everything that we learn can then be put into a plan, which will then lead us to where we want to go, the goal that we want to achieve. Read the notes you took on what you learned and write down the things that you need to apply to reach your goal. Now, let's talk about goals for a second. When we're creating a plan, we have to figure out where we are going. In other terms, what is our goal? We have to figure out where we are, and then we have to draw that path that takes us from where we are to where we want to be. A lot of times you may have heard of SMART goals, which are goals that have to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, or in other words, time-based. So let's take, for example, the goal that I'm working on at this moment in my life. I'm 255 pounds, and I've been floating around 250 to 260 for a while, and I felt pretty good. My goal is to lose 10 more pounds. So that is a very specific goal, and it's measurable because I can actually measure the amount of weight that I lose or gain over time to then track this goal. Now, I want to accomplish this within the next 10 weeks. So that will be 1 pound each week, which is a fairly reasonable amount. So it's achievable and it's time-oriented. So I've identified where I want to go. It's 245 pounds. I've identified where I'm at, 255 pounds, and how I'm going to get there are going to be through the rest of the plan. I have not actually created this plan, but I will tell you what I have thought of to be able to get there because there are basic principles that I have learned over the years. Exercise and nutrition. Those two are the key principles. The stereotypical eat less and do more, it's very simplified. But if I am able to implement, let's say 4 to 5 workouts per week, and each one is about 40 to 50 minutes long, where I'm able to increase my heart rate, essentially do more, right? I can plan out those activities through the week. Now, when it comes to nutrition, I would put in my plan, I'm going to eat X number of calories, and I'll probably just pick around 2,200 because I know how much I've been eating and I know what my weight's been doing, so I can guesstimate by decreasing that a certain amount, that I will be able to have a weight loss effect. So about 2,200 calories is what I will eat each day. Now, when it comes to breaking that down into proteins, carbs, and fats, or in other words, food sources, I'll aim for about 40% carbs, 30% protein, and 30% fat. Those numbers may change, but again, before I write this plan out, I need to obtain that knowledge to be able to then write my plan. In either case, if you want to use a personal trainer, that is great. Otherwise, these 3 pillars can help you obtain those goals on your own or supplement what you do with a personal trainer. Now, when it comes to creating this plan, I would strongly urge you write it down or create some sort of a digital tracking sheet that you can be very specific with and hold yourself accountable. So make sure that you do day by day and include what you're eating and what you're doing for exercise that day. If you want to be very specific, like with your food, exactly what you're eating, great. If you just want a certain number of calories, great. If you just want to follow a diet plan, make sure you're in ketosis or that you're following the Whole30 food guidelines. Whichever diet strategy you pick, be very specific with what your plan is and writing that down. In terms of activities, document what days you're working out, even what times if you want to. Make sure you write what you'll be doing, and again, you can be as specific or general as you want. For me, I would write down 20 minutes of cardio, 30 minutes of weightlifting, and then a 5 to 10 minute cool down with stretching or something like that. But make sure that you write it down, because that is part of the second pillar of planning, and it's very important. Which then leads us into the third pillar, which is execution. Execution is the act of carrying out or putting in place a plan, order, or course of action. So when it comes to this third pillar, this is what everything else has led to. First, you obtain the knowledge that you need in order to be able to create a plan, which you then execute. Now, this execution sometimes is the most difficult part. If you have to make time on a busy schedule where you have to figure out, well, how on earth am I going to fit in this exercise? Or how am I going to meal prep or make this food that I have to eat to be able to reach my goals? Now, for me, this has actually been quite a struggle. With so many things going on in my schedule, it's hard to find that time to be able to make sure that these things get carried out. So again, as part of this whole refresh process, I will need to go through and make sure that I'm dedicating certain amounts of time to the things I need to reach my goals. Now, when a personal trainer comes into play, if you have an in-person personal trainer, they can help you execute on a form level or making sure you're doing the right intensity, coaching you through various exercises. They can see weaknesses that you might need to be able to strengthen. There are a lot of benefits. There are also online programs. I did have a podcast recently with Team Flex where they do online training and online coaching, and they have a very successful program. So that execution is then placed more on the individual to be able to find the time, do the activities, eat the right things, and then report back to their trainer. So like I said, whatever format may work for you, make sure that execution is there. And then as part of that execution, this third pillar of success, you then need to make sure you're aware of what's going on, how you feel, what sort of things you are reacting to or like or don't like. And then if you're working with a trainer, report back to that trainer, but write that down so you can then repeat this process of these 3 pillars of success. Go back to the knowledge phase and then figure out, what else do I need to know to make myself better or to improve or to maybe help others? You then learn, again, whether through experience or studying or what other method you learn from, and then revisit your plan. At this point, you then change the plan, adjust the plan, adapt to whatever circumstances there are, or create a whole new plan, and then use that to go back through to the execution phase. So when all is said and done, these 3 pillars have no specific time allotment. You aren't spending a week on knowledge and learning, you aren't spending a week on planning. It's a very fluid process. So these 3 pillars are very key to be able to achieve any goal, and that is truly what I believe. Now, specifically with health and fitness, I'm going to be creating content around these 3 pillars to be able to help you implement them in your own life. I want to try to help people reach their goals, whether that's weight loss or building muscle or just feeling healthier. This is what I'm passionate about. So if you like what you hear in this video, or if you're listening to this on podcasts, whether that's Spotify or iTunes or wherever, please subscribe to whichever platform this is on. YouTube, Instagram, podcasts, Twitter, anywhere that you see me online, please make sure you subscribe if this is something that you're interested in, because my whole goal is to be able to reach out and add value to people in the fitness community. That's the whole reason why I started my podcast. I started by interviewing people because I want to learn from others' experience and share their value with the community. I'm tired of the fitness quote-unquote industry, and I want it to become more of a community where we are focused on helping each other and not just simply trying to sell something to somebody else to earn money. Yes, I do have affiliates that I'm partnered with. However, I do not believe in promoting something that I don't use myself and that I don't believe in. So again, if you want to support the things that I do, feel free to use those affiliate links. They're in my Instagram bio, on my website, YouTube description, wherever. I'm not going to be the one that force feeds these to my audience, but simply wish you to choose whatever may benefit you the most, if that's something that you would like. I really appreciate you watching this video or listening on this podcast, wherever it is that you're hearing this or watching this. And again, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, like it, write a review wherever you're at. Every little bit helps to get this message out to more people so that we can start making the world a better place by creating positive content and sending positive messages to those that we interface with, whether that's online or in person or wherever that may be. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we will see you on the next video.